just reached the trade winds and we're holding on to position 2 in Division D and 33rd overall as we race across the Atlantic. Steady winds and steady sailing, at least for now. Unfortunately, things are starting to come apart. Will Tranquilo hold together before we reach Ernie?
Good morning, Atlantic. Well, the big news is that by all accounts, looks like we've hit the trade winds. It's gusting from the northeast about 9, and predict wind shows that yes, this is now going to slowly build and settle all the way through to St. Lucia, hopefully. By the way, these are perfect conditions for putting out a spinnaker. It's around 9 knots, coming from an angle of about 145 degrees, so the wind's nicely off the back.
Well, we're back on the horse, the spinnaker is up. And those battle scars on the spinnaker are reminding us just to be a little bit careful. The average wind at the moment is sort of around the 11 knot mark, hasn't gone above 13 for an hour. So we're fairly comfortable to have it up. If that wind speed creeps up, we take it down. But for now, having a bit of fun. As Gordon said, boat speed up 20%, fun factor up 200%.
Loving it.
Loving it. I look up every now and then like just to check.
But you're doing that.
And it's doing very well, keeping the spinnaker happy. $5,000!
5,000!
High five! High five for 5,000.
High five.
High five, Phil.
Well, it's day 10 crossing the Atlantic, and it looks like most of us are now in the trade winds. You see, based on latest positions, that people are starting to make between 150 and 170 nautical miles per day towards St. Lucia. The challenge for us is, while we've got good winds right now all the way through to tomorrow, the trade winds start shifting south, and so we're going to have to do a jibe and head just a bit further south, so not as good a speed straight for St. Lucia. Well, that's the way it is. Our current position is still second position in Class D. The bad news is, Nottingham, the leader, is pulling away from us. Well, the good news is, Ernie, the third place boat, we are pulling away from it. Well, the task for this morning is to put this cabinet back against the wall in the night. It's just peeled away from the wall 2 little screws for something that looks like you should be able to hold on to is not good enough. Seems like Hunter has a IKEA approach to furniture building on a boat that's supposed to be able to cross oceans. And here's another example, this ottoman. It is slowly falling apart just because it's been held by glue and little plastic widgets, bolts, call it what you will, you know, the ones that you get in IKEA to hold 2 pieces of furniture together. So we're having a go at fixing a cabinet. We've put L-date all the way around, and now Gordon's putting in longer screws. And Lockie's cooling down the front, but by all accounts I've asked him to at least show himself down by some of the lines, and so making a good impression of looking like Gulliver being strapped down by the Lilliputians. Wind's gusting up to 20. We've got 1 reef in, full heady out, and we're doing around 7.5 boat speed, about 9 speed over ground. We've got a beautiful current pushing us along. Well, good morning Atlantic. We're still maintaining second in Division D, although we're all coming together slowly. We're catching up on the boat ahead of us, the Discovery 55 Naughty Girl, and the Grand Soleil 45 Amarone is hence catching up on us. Naughty Girl's to the north of us and she's got light winds, hence we're able to catch her, but sounds like the guys behind us are in slightly stronger winds, and they're also willing probably to put up more sails in stronger winds than we are. Well, we've hit the light wind patch, so Big S has come out, the big orange. In 10-11 knots of wind, we're getting about 6 knots of speed. It's pretty good. $150. Hey, don't bring the spinnaker on. Spinnaker halyard. Faster. Okay, into the wind.
Yeah, that's good, Aiden. That's
You
done.
need to bring it on.
Look at the telltales. I can go out a little.
Would you like spray, Mum?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Well, it's day 12. We're still holding second position in Division D, but there's a boat hot on our tails due, who initially went south of Cape Verde and caught the trade winds and has just been scooting along through the trade winds. So initially when it hit the trade winds, it was in position 17, last spot in our division, and currently it's clawed its way to third. It's now 90 nautical miles behind us, and it's gaining around 10 to 15 nautical miles per day, so I expect they might just shoot through. Due, for those who want to know, is a Baltic 51, one of those beautiful boats that the Scandinavians are very good at making. Now things have settled down, I'm going to make Gordon his first coffee in 12 days. It'll be a nice surprise for him. Hey Gordon, coffee, first coffee of the trip.
I'm in flavor country.
Yes, I am in flavor country. I'm halfway to Colombia, so coffee's got to be good.
Coffee tastes better as we get closer to Colombia. It feels itself coming home.
We only dare to let 2 of the family test it for breakfast if we get sick. Helmet and compass.
They got a feast on their boat.
Well, I know, they were the ones who made buns with Nutella
really?
inside.
How many people on their
Yeah, the Swedish.
4.
Four, just the parents and the 2 kids. They were the ones
Might
who
be a
had
bit
to go
easy.
to Cape Verde because the gang boat picker. This is one of our favourite times of the day. We've downloaded the messages from the sat phone, and it's really nice that the family boat's on Pontoon S. We're just forever after Pontoon S. We're all just, the kids are replying to each other, and also nice kind of show of fellow sailor camaraderie. The other 455 Infinity of Yar has emailed us to warn us about their halyard, chafe on the halyard, and something they've repaired a couple of times. And another boat, Grey Goose, their halyard snapped. So yeah, it's just a sort of friendly, how are you going? How's the 455 performing, and something to look out for. Rig check time. See if there's any chafe on that halyard and a few other things. Actually doing the whole Jerry the Rigger check. Up, down, through the middle, and looking up at the mast.
If I ask for dessert, say no.
Although one thing I've noticed, these rubber bits that stop the self-tacking slider hitting, like slamming, these are starting to wear. We might need replacements in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Never ending.
Well, good morning, Atlantic. Everyone's in good spirits, but just a bit tired. It was a relatively rough night, especially Aiden had a bit of a cold, so we went to Elle quite a bit, and so Elle's just a bit tired. We are maintaining second place in Division D, but the Baltic 51 due is coming up fast. They're now only 60 nautical miles behind us, so I expect in the next 2 or 3 days they will have overtaken us. They're getting much better winds at the 14-degree north latitude, and so hence they're going faster. They're also bigger, so it's not surprising. We are now also heading south to catch some of those stronger winds. Let's see how we go. We've reached a milestone today, halfway across the Atlantic, so we're celebrating with biscuits, cookies.
This is because we have a dry boat. All of us, 3 weeks, no alcohol. Kind of usual for me. Slightly unusual for Phil.
Killing me!
Probably some others.
No, I'm good.
And also this kind of seems apt because our waypoint is affectionately known as Cookie Monster. This is day 12 or 13 or I don't know, something around there, I don't even know anymore. I'm feeling a bit flat today, pretty tired. As you know, I'm usually into the sailing, but just pretty tired. When you're sleep deprived, it doesn't take much. Like last night when Aiden was not feeling so well, poor thing, so disrupted night. But I know the remedy for this kind of feelings. I've done it by myself outside of the boat and just watching the flying fish that are amazing, so beautiful. Yeah, watching fish, the birds, and this curious trail of seaweed, which probably comes along in the current from Cape Verde. So yeah, I am feeling a lot better. But just I thought I'd say yeah, it's not it's not always beaches and pina coladas, this sailing business, and does get really tiring after a very long arc crossing. And in fact, with the winds this year, I'm imagining this will be probably the longest arc ever for people on average to do the crossing.
So we're heading further south. We've noticed that the boats that are catching up to us, the boats that are going faster than us, are about 1 or 2 degrees further south of us. So that's where we're heading, to catch some stronger winds. The only downside to that is it's definitely a lot choppier and it's wearing out the crew.
What did the didgeridoo?
What did the didgeridoo? Something about boomerang?
Yeah. Answer the phone when the boomerang.
Good morning, Atlantic. Well, the big milestone for today is we've just passed the 1,000 nautical miles to go to St. Lucia. Yeah. And the other thing, unfortunately, is that we've just been pipped into second position by the Baltic 51 yacht Duke. But they're flying a spinnaker. They've got a small spinnaker. You know, ours is just a bit too big to fly in these conditions. We're in 16 knot winds, so good for them. They picked the right spinnaker for the conditions, and they're getting ahead of us. See you in St. Lucia, guys.
Possibly they have more than one spinnaker. We've noticed on a couple of yachts going past us, they'll have one up, take down, put a smaller one up, one that gets a better angle, that kind of thing. So it kind of becomes a rich man's game if you're really into this for racing, but clearly we're not. We have white sails, we have one spinnaker, and touch wood, we're going to get there in one piece, and that's what counts. This is Tranquilo. Do you read me? Over. Maybe third time lucky? Maybe not. I'm just going to call, say hi, congratulations, seen you guys for a while. Actually started a long way south, 120 miles away from us, and catching up. Doesn't look like they're on channel 16.
So what's for dinner, Lockie?
We are cooking up some chorizo with bolognese, a Spanish pasteurization, you could say, with some onion and some mushrooms. Otherwise, we're almost out of veggies, so I think this would be one of the last kind of all-round wholesome meals we have for a while, and it's going to be the canned food for the next week.
And our last bits of fresh fruit. And then we're off onto the canned fruit.
Woohoo! 6,000. And check out the full moon.
Good morning, it's day 16 across the Atlantic, and overnight we had a great sail. Winds picked up to 20 knots, and so Tranquilo really hit it well, reaching up to 9 knots of speed. Almost felt like at times we were just surfing on the waves. But there's been a bit of jostling for position 3. So while Dew has dropped back, the Baltic 51, they decided to drive further south. I expect they're trying to catch stronger winds. The Grand Soleil 45 pipped us just to the south of us. The Grand Soleil Amarone, they can point deeper than us, so hence why, well, we had to jibe at one point in time. That's when they scooted right past us. Anyway, looking good based on predictions. We've got 6 more days to go. What's the wind speed?
13.
No, got to keep going south. Oh, good morning. It's relatively calm this morning. We did a few jives to continue playing with the wind, and to our surprise this morning we have been passed and pipped into 5th place by our fellow compatriots, the Oyster 56 into the blue. Just had a quick call with them, said how they're going. Apparently they've been goose winged, which is where they've got this head sail on one side, the mainsail on the other side, and a pole holding out the head sail. They've been like that for the past 5 days, just on the same tack. They're taking it very easy.
Ta-da! I just turned 9, 10 hours and 15 minutes ago. If you are watching this video and like say your name, I'm sorry if you don't like it. This is Bertie or Albert, and this is Zenon. This is Hilma, and this one is Hampus, and also there's Hayley, Megan, Bo, and Dan, and Rory Potch. Sorry, Rory.
So who are they all?
They're friends on Espontoon.
Oh, I was trying to feel the wind.
There's no way.
Split seconds. We just have to imagine then. You put the 9 where you feel like
Imagine a flaming fire
That burns the whole boat down.
burns.
you.
Happy birthday
To you. Happy birthday, dear A. I've just cut up and brought up our daily ration of fruit to keep the scurvy at bay. Problem is, we've only got one more day of rations. It's lucky we've got 4 more days to go, so we should be okay with the scurvy. Unfortunately, the balloons are popping and they're looking a bit creepy right now.
They look like shrunken heads. We've gone too far up the Amazon.
Hi, how you going?
How are you?
We're all well, how are you?
Doing well now. Amanda was saying the delay is strange, so do we need to go over?
Say again, the delay.
The delay is quite long, so to make sure we don't talk over each other,
Yeah.
what would you like to do?
We could use VHF radio protocol, which is to say over.
Let's do that. Over.
Alright, that works well, over. Yep. Start reading.
The heading. Usually.
A little more out.
Good morning, it's day 18 and we are continuing to jibe on the way to St. Lucia and our waypoint Ernie. We're just holding on by the tips of our fingernails to position 4 in Division D. Jews just to the south of us. To be fair, I don't know why they went so far south. Maybe they've decided to do a morticier and head for the Amazonas. I'll have to check with them when we get to St. Lucia. And we're still holding on just behind into the blue. They still can be seen on our chart plotter. They're about 20 nautical miles closer to St. Lucia than we are. Well, it's day 19 of our trip across the Atlantic, and in all intents and purposes we have consolidated position 5. The Oyster 56 into the blue is about 25 nautical miles ahead of us, as is the Baltic 51 due. We're sitting at around 52nd place overall. All the jibing of yesterday has paid off. We went far enough south that now we can just maintain the one starboard tack all the way through to St. Lucia. But before we get there, looks like the forecast from Predict Wind is saying that we are going to get squalls. To be seen how serious. As you can see, the clouds are slowly building. Yeah, and we expect about between 24 and 36 hours of just squalls. So I just downloaded the latest Predict Wind weather forecast, and it's right now 4 PM and the squalls are supposed to hit us at 9 PM. So I'm just getting a few quick snoozes in before it hits us.
You might be wondering what it's like to see nothing but endless blue for 19 days. Actually, it's quite different every day. So the waves are different, The light is different, the clouds, the colour of the water. We've been lucky enough to have the full moon come and go during the trip. So we have sunrise, sunset, moonrise, moonset. And it's actually been a lot calmer than most of us thought for most of the trip, which has made it a lot easier, I think. Years ago when Phil said that he wanted to do this trip, I said, no way are Aiden and I coming across the Atlantic, we're going to fly across and meet you. But to be honest, even, you know, the few squalls we've had have been nothing outside what we've sailed through for years. So, touch wood, it's been fine. There's some squalls coming up tonight though, so I'm a little bit anxious. Feels like the calm before the storm. And actually I've been feeling slightly sick for a couple of days, so I am now very ready for land. Also very ready for some fresh veggies, definitely hanging out for veggies. And ready for a nice long shower.
Yep, the clouds are gathering.
Second last morning. Going about 6 knots and around 18 knots of wind. But it has been up to the 22, 23. So for now we're keeping the reef in.
The wind's picked up to about 30 knots.
Ah, my butt's getting wet.
Fun. We'll drink. Drink a toast to the sun. There's no sun.
Just getting suited up for my watch. This is our final night, all going to plan, and it's pretty fast and ferocious out there. I think we'll all be glad to reach St. Lucia.
Well, I've just been woken up by a tremendous smash. This cupboard here just flew open. Turns out that the latch holding it has broken off. Anyway, so we've got the spares out and I'm about to replace it. Could have been worse. Hopefully it's the last thing that breaks before we reach port tomorrow afternoon.
Miles to go.
Good morning, Atlantic. Well, we got 40 nautical miles to go, just under. and we're cruising at about 7 knots, so we should be in around 3 p.m. We got through the night relatively unscathed. No squalls, no major breezes, and as predicted wind forecast, the wind's slowly petering out. It's currently 20 knots. We've now unreefed to first reef and rolled a whole heading. There.
There! Whoa!
Ava's got it.
Looks like a miracle!
You see it, Chrissy?
No.
Heaven!
See those two wispy parallel clouds? Directly below that slightly to the left.
Oh my goodness, it's very hard.
It's a little hazy. It's right amongst the legs.
Did you say little hazy?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I see it.
I see it.
35.8.
It's a volcano!
Only a few miles to go, so I'm spending what little time I have left up here on deck watching the birds. I think they're gannets, soaring, chasing flying fish and diving. And really I'm trying to soak this up while I adjust to the idea that we're coming back to civilization. I don't think I've felt so conflicted about this before, so I'm really keen to get to the marina, which I'm not normally, simply because of the creature comforts, a nice shower, and I know the crew are keen to get back onto land. But I'm also I know it's going to be a slight culture shock. Not because of the Caribbean per se, but just being back with cars and money and internet. And out here, you just get immersed in, like, this is what the planet is all about. This is what life is all about. There's clean water, there's fish, birds, seaweed, fresh air. Like, this is kind of the real deal. That petty world that we tie ourselves in knots over, like the daily grind and money and politics and all that stuff. Haven't had to deal with that for 20 days. So it just, yeah, it really hits home now that we're about to re-enter that.
No, you're good, mate. Okay, this should be the last jibe. We're a bit far north, just off Martinique. We need to head further south to St. Lucia. The wind's shifted, so this is the last jibe. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, start bringing it in.
Okay, diving! Dived.
In the passage between Martinique and St. Lucia, the winds have proven to be quite elusive. They've gone down to speeds of 10, so it's really killed our speed. So I've been trying to find the acceleration zone just at the northern end of St. Lucia, and occasionally we get it. So we've got about 3.5 knots of knock. Right now we're traveling in 40 knots of wind, so maybe we have found this elusive wind that I'm looking for. Well, it looks like the gamble may have just paid off. We're now sailing on the northern coast of St. Lucia in 15 knots of wind.
Oh, we've seen it now.
And there it is, Rodney Bay and the finish line. We're about to cross the finish line and we don't have any champagne.
Dangerous vessel Silver Heels. That's exactly who we're heading for.
Yeah, that's...
Oh yeah.
Phil, my navigator, can you tell me exactly where I'm going?
Or silver heels, aim for silver heels, there's a southern end, and then you'll see a buoy to the north of it, a big orange buoy, that's the finish line.
It's been a long time coming.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Why ain't you taking photos?
Welcome to the Caribbean. Thank you.
Thank you in the
I don't know.
Pelizeno! Pelizeno! Pelizeno!
Pelizeno!
Into the blue! All these people we've been seeing.
Thank you.
Serafina's a badass.
Who's this?
In here.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
There's
Encore.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Enjoy.
Yeah, we made it.
Was the brother. Welcome to St. Lucia.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, it's really nice. Excuse me.
what the? This looks weird. It looks weird.
Otherwise, locally there's
Oh, my legs are really trembling.
Alright.
Yay.
I have to go next stop. Okay, we'll see. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, thanks.
Next time, bye boy.
Yeah.
Alright.
In a big ocean crossing like this, there is a lot of time for reflection, and I've been thinking about all the people in our lives, so long term, you know, of course, friends and family, and very short fleeting encounters that are really what makes sailing so special. So sailing is a great leveler. The people we met in marinas range from slightly strange hermity types, often old men, not always, and then very materially well-off people, families, just adventuresome couples, very broad range of people. So while we are sailing and undertaking these journeys together, that's the common thread, that's the common ground, and we get along, we enjoy each other's company. Everyone's very willing to share their stories about and their tips of good places, not so good places, good marinas, not so good marinas. So this is a different story of who we are as human beings. We're very social creatures. We do things because it's enjoyable and also because it helps all of us, really. Like it's actually necessary as well to have these tips. So it's a different story to the one that says that we're greedy and selfish and in it for ourselves, and it's a very social and communal story. This is one of the things that I love about sailing.